Hey everyone, Creatively Cara here, and my channel is all about taking you along on my creative journey with me. Today we're going to be setting up, if you've been to my channel before, you're familiar with Milo and him making his cameo appearances. So stay tuned because, that's fun. Anyways, we are going to be setting up the month of October today, and I am super excited to share this theme with you. I put a lot of thought into what I wanted to do, and I'm really happy with how this one turned out and all of the colors and just everything for October. For my supplies today, I have a variety of Tombow dual brush markers, a Zebra mild liner brush pen, and my Faber-Castell Artist Pitt pens. I will link to all of the items I'm using today in the description box down below, along with the color codes for the Tombow markers in case you would like to be able to replicate this theme in your own bullet journal. And if you do choose to replicate it, please tag me on Instagram if you share your photos there. I would love to see your recreations of this. Just be sure to tag me at Creatively Cara. Lately, I've really been struggling to come up with themes. I'm not sure what it is, but it takes me a very long time to think about it. My creative process involves kind of using my ideas journal to start figuring out what colors I want to use and then what doodles I want to do. I definitely wanted to do something fall related, and I didn't really want to do leaves. Initially, I did think about pumpkins, and pumpkins was in my brain the entire time. I just wanted to figure out how I wanted to use pumpkins. So I didn't want to do super traditional color pumpkins, and I'm really happy with the color theme I came up with. It's sort of these muted colors with a muted orange as well as this purple, kind of this cream color, and then I love the green for the leaves. So I'm really, really happy with how all of the colors turned out for it. And when I was trying to figure out how to do the pumpkins, I was going to kind of have them scattered across the page, but then I decided that the pumpkins looked really good when they were kind of overlapping each other. So ultimately, that's what I went with, and they're super easy to draw. Here's a little doodle tutorial, which I'll be sharing over on my Instagram page at Creatively Cara. So in case you want to recreate this again, let me know if you have any questions about that process. I'd be happy to help. For my quote, I wanted it to be something about change. And when I started looking into it, I then thought about Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and she has a lot of really great quotes that have been floating around on social media since her passing. And I found this one about change, and I really, really liked it. So I wanted to incorporate that onto my cover page here, and it says, "Real change, enduring change, happens one step at a time." And I think that's really important to remember. I mean, there's a lot going on in the world right now, and just a lot going on in my life too. So I think that this quote really speaks to everything that's happening right now. I'm working on getting better at doing lettering and quote pages. I'm hoping to start doing some digitally as well. I have my Cara-Designs Instagram page where I've been doing some illustrations, but I want to start doing more quotes and really just other design style items. So lettering is one of those, so I want to start including that in my bullet journal more as well as digitally. So be sure to follow me at Cara-Designs on Instagram as well, where I share some more of my creative items. But it's really fun to play around with quote pages and figuring out what kind of shadows or details to add. So it's something I'm working on, and I'm excited to continue learning on this process. If you are new to lettering, don't be afraid. Just kind of draw things out in pencil first. That's what I like to do to kind of make sure everything's going to fit the way I want it to. And then when it comes to adding in little extra details, you just kind of play around with it. And I think it's just a matter of practicing for you to be able to figure out what ends up working out and what doesn't. Sometimes I'll even add things and I'll be like, well, that wasn't great, but it's fine. I wanted to do a very simple calendar setup, and to do that, I just did the horizontal lines. Basically, I didn't add in any vertical lines, and I know that this is a style that some bullet journalers will use. It's very aesthetically pleasing, and I think I'm really happy with how it turned out and the colors that I used for it. So for this, I had the space at the bottom where I wanted to add in my pumpkins. I think by the end of setting up October, I finally figured out the real strategy for drawing these out. you got to kind of play around with the colors and which one's forward, which one's backwards. And then I went in to add in all the stems and then all the leaves, and then I added the outline on top of that at the end. So that just kind of limited the amount of times I was flipping between my markers. In the past, I've done a spider web theme that involved some purple for October, and then actually last year I did this rose theme, which again kind of had this like purpley color. I don't know why, I just love purple in October. I think that it pairs really well with orange or other colors or fall colors in general. So I just am drawn to purple when it comes to October, I guess. And yeah, so be sure to check out my previous October Playing With Me's. I will link to them down below in case you're interested. The spiderweb theme is actually when I was in my disc bound bullet journal. So that's kind of a cool setup in how I did that one. Now on to adding my growth tracker. I like to keep track of how many followers or subscribers I have for my YouTube channel and for my 2 Instagram accounts. I don't know at what point you're watching this, but we are almost at 2,000 subs on YouTube. So thank you all so much, seriously, for following me along on this creative journey. I have been having so much fun. I know I don't always post consistently on YouTube, but I'm working on getting into a better flow. But YouTube is honestly just my hobby. I post here to share my creativity with others and hopefully inspire you as well. So to celebrate 2,000 subs, leave a comment down below of how you found my channel or something that you love about my channel or just anything that you want to share with me. I'd love to get to know you guys a little bit better, and hopefully maybe in the future we can do a Q&A session soon. I'd love to be able to share more about myself. I'm a pretty open book, so yeah, I'd love to be able to do that. Next up is my memories page, and I started doing this one actually really just last month, doing a full 2-page spread. I have not filled out my memories page yet for September. That's a video that will probably be coming here in the next week or so, so stay tuned. I'm really excited though, because this is a way for me to add in pictures or memories or anything that really happened in that month, and I'm able to then reflect back on it. So it kind of ends up being almost a scrapbooking page, but I think it's great because it'll incorporate the theme, and it's a nice place for me to just keep track of those memories. So I'm really excited for these, and I think it's something that I want to keep with because doing kind of this creative journaling is something that I like to do. I've done it in the past. I think I actually did one for October last year, and yeah, I have a lot of fun making them. So hopefully you enjoy them as well. Next, we're going to be doing my tracker spread, and I'm going back to what I was using earlier this year, where I included sort of this mood tracker, habit tracker, and energy tracker all in one. So basically this isn't a pretty doodly, tracker spread, but it's very efficient. And I felt like I needed to go back to that because it tracks your moods very well. I end up listing happy, okay, stressed, anxious, irritated, sad, and tired. And, I might experience multiple moods throughout the day, and I want to be able to record that. It's much more efficient and exact than just being like, oh, I was this purple color today, which indicates that I was happy. I like being able to show that, yes, I was also stressed and tired, so my day was okay. As you can see here with the header, I decided that the purple itself was not enough, so I went over it with a black brush pen, and then I kind of did the purple as a drop shadow over it. So it looks a little messy because I had to go over it, but it's okay. Now, something new I want to do in my bullet journal is including an astrology spread. I am by no means at all an expert in this, but I've been more and more interested in horoscopes and just understanding how all of that plays together and what's going on. So I'm starting off by including the moon phases at the top because I know that the moon can impact what's going on, and I have 2 kids, and every time everything just goes crazy, I'm like, oh, it's a full moon. So I think it'll be really helpful to be able to track those. But the next thing, so I should have erased that before I colored it in. So my eraser literally just smeared the black pen everywhere, but I used my white gel pen to cover it up, and you really can't tell too much. I mean, if you've watched other bullet journals, you'll see that white Jelly Roll pens is like one of the top things to use. I would say that most notebooks now have white paper instead of the ivory paper, so it's a very common and easy thing to use. Then I have in here my predictions, so I will write down the predictions for the month, and then the journaling portion is for me to kind of write down what actually happened, what I actually experienced in that month. So I don't know, this is kind of how I'm going to approach it for now, but we'll see how things go, and we might change it up for next month. But I'm curious, do you guys track astrology or horoscopes or anything in your bullet journal? If so, do you have any recommendations on what kind of spreads or things to track? I'm really curious, and I'd love to get into this a little bit more. Next up, we have my weekly spread, and this one's using some boxes as well as a quote, and then I'll be including some of my doodles on here. The quote I chose for this one was "Goodbye September, hello October." Very, very simple here. But because there is an overlap in the weeks between September and October, I thought that quote was fitting for this weekly spread. I used my Tombow colors to add in little circles to put the day, and then of course just using my favorite Castile pen to do a little bit of calligraphy. Now, when I'm recording these, my notebook's kind of farther away from me, so you'll see that my writing ends up being like slanted sometimes. Just ignore that. I gotta work on like my angling when I'm recording, but it's, you know, that's just the way it goes sometimes. I absolutely love how this weekly spread turned out. I just love the colors, how everything was laid out, and yeah, this is probably my favorite spread in my October setup, and I'm curious what your favorite spread is. Leave me a comment down below as to what spread you liked the most out of my October plan with me here. Oh, here's Milo. So I made a little spot for him. I usually, when he comes up, I try to like make a spot for him to lay down that's not on top of my journal. But you know, he's a cat and decided to lay directly on top of my journal. And then he's like, "Hey, come pet me." So yeah, this is his own little moment in this setup, but I have other videos. I think I actually have a compilation video. If you'd love to see more of Milo, I will share it here in the cards as well as down below, with him just interrupting me. It's great. And I try to be nice. You know, he's my loving cat. I want to make sure that he does get my attention and can stay with me. But when he's laying directly on top of what I'm trying to work on, it makes things a little bit more impossible. But we found an agreement. He's perfect, you know, petting him. I'm also still drawing. It works. It works. I know I'm not the only one when it comes to pets and journaling. I see things on Facebook and all over social media of animals interrupting others when they're journaling. I think it's so cute. I mean, I love pets. They're adorable, but they are a pain sometimes. Anyways. Just adding up the finishing touches to this setup here for the weekly spread, where I'm adding some colors, a little drop shadow to my quote. And then again, here I am practicing my lettering. I'm really trying to dive into it a little bit more. I'm hoping you'll maybe see more of this from me, maybe even some lettering pages on my YouTube channel. We'll have to see. This is also something new that I'm including in my Plan With Me video. So I've always been back and forth on whether I wanted to use a separate journal for work or include it in the same thing. And recently I've been deciding to include it in my bullet journal because I feel like when it's in my real bullet journal, I am more apt to use my bullet journal throughout the day. So I have found that this setup works really well for me. I just have a task list that I use for the entire week, Monday through Friday, and then I leave a little space at the bottom for notes so I can write down any quick notes that I need to make. Here's a quick flip through of October just to show you everything once more, but thank you all so much for taking the time to watch this video today. If you enjoyed what you saw, make sure you hit that like button down below, and if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. Until next time, bye-bye!